Welcome to the Leadership and Learning Podcast with Dr. JBT, where we dive deep into the art of leadership for emerging and advancing leaders. Whether you're just starting out or looking to sharpen your skills, this podcast is your go-to resource. We'll explore real-world scenarios, actionable solutions, and expert advice with insights drawn from Dr. JBT's own experiences and interviews with seasoned leaders. If you're serious about growing as a leader, you've come to the right place. Welcome back to Leadership and Learning with Dr. JBT. Today, we're diving further into transformational leadership and looking at one of the 4 I's, intellectual stimulation. Before we go any further, I want to begin with a thought that has shaped my leadership for years. Intellectual stimulation isn't about being the smartest person in the room. It's about being the leader who draws out the intelligence, the creativity, and the potential of the room. Too many leaders still believe their credibility comes from having all the answers, but transformational leaders know something fundamentally different. Your power is not in your answers, it's in your ability to awaken answers in other people. When you step into a room, your role isn't to dominate the thinking, it's to create the environment where the best thinking can emerge. It shifts from, I must know, to, we will figure this out together. This shift turns compliance into commitment. It unlocks innovation, ownership, and confidence in both individuals and teams. I want to bring in a concept from Liz Wiseman's book, The Multipliers. It is a book that has been really impactful for me and my leadership team, and it perfectly captures the heart of intellectual stimulation. Wiseman studied thousands of leaders and found there are 2 types. 1, diminishers. Even unintentionally, drain intelligence from their teams. They believe they need to be the smartest person in the room. So they talk more than they listen, provide answers instead of asking questions, make decisions without input, shut down curiosity without realizing it. And what is the impact? People play small, ideas stay silent, and innovation stalls. Most diminishers don't intend harm, but their behavior signals, I've already solved it. Your thinking isn't needed. The other type that Wiseman talks about are called multipliers, and they do the exact opposite. They amplify intelligence. They assume people are smart and capable and lead in ways that unlock that capability. Multipliers ask questions that spark thinking, invite diverse perspectives, push people to stretch, create safety for experimentation. Wiseman found that multipliers get twice the intelligence from their teams because people feel valued, trusted, and challenged. And this is the essence of intellectual stimulation. You don't lead by showcasing your intelligence. You lead by unleashing the intelligence around you. Why does this matter? When leaders cling to being the smartest person in the room, people stop offering ideas. Innovation slows. Teams lose ownership. But when leaders draw out the intelligence of the room, people speak up. People challenge assumptions, people identify solutions, people take ownership, and people grow. Transformational leaders become change agents, not through dominance, but through empowerment. So what does this look like in practice? In my own leadership, I focus on creating a rhythm of refinement, a culture where continuous improvement is normal, expected, and most importantly, safe. I often ask, where are the band-aids in our processes? What isn't working for customers or for you? What assumptions are we making? What would you fix if you had full authority? What's one idea you haven't said out loud yet? And the most important question, what do you think the solution could be? Because that's what multipliers do. They develop thinkers, not followers. I was working with a leader once who stepped into a role where her team was working hard, but not producing meaningful results. When we met to talk about her challenges, I knew I could come in with a plan. I could have mapped out efficiencies, outlined priorities, and handed her a strategy. But I didn't start there. Instead, I asked her, well, what do you think your team needs? What would unite them? What would help them achieve real results? She paused, said, give me a few weeks. I think I can figure it out. A month later, she came back with a fully developed plan, and it was good. She created focus weeks to give the team structure. She identified a shared purpose and articulated a clear vision. She even mapped out how to roll out the changes in a way that would build buy-in and momentum. She was committed. She owned it. And importantly, she had crafted something far better than what I could have designed because she was embedded in the work and understood the nuances up close. It was a powerful example of what happens when you multiply the smarts in the room, when you resist the urge to provide answers and instead develop thinkers. People rise, ideas deepen, ownership grows, and the leader, not me, becomes the architect of the solution. We need to talk about the role of failure and why leaders must normalize it for us to have this idea of intellectual stimulation. Innovation doesn't happen in perfect conditions. It happens when leaders make it safe to try. Multipliers and intellectually stimulating leaders understand innovation requires experimentation. Experimentation includes failure. Failure is data. Data leads to refinement, and refinement leads to growth. I love when someone on my team tries something new, even if it doesn't pan out. It tells me that they feel safe and supported and empowered. And it often moves us forward more than playing it safe ever would. I had a team member once who was rolling out a change across multiple departments. I gave her full ownership of the approach. I wanted her to think it through and decide the best way forward. She chose to bring all the leaders together in one meeting, hoping to align everyone quickly on a new rating system. In her mind, one meeting would be more efficient than several, and it would move the project along faster. But that's not what happened. The leaders couldn't agree. The conversation became a circle, and after an hour, nothing was accomplished. She came back to me frustrated, but reflective. She realized that the group setting created too much resistance and too many competing perspectives all at once. What she actually needed were one-on-one conversations, slower in theory, but faster in practice, because they would allow her to answer questions and concerns and build individual buy-in. That's exactly what she did next, and it worked. It was such a valuable learning moment. She needed that first attempt to fail in order to rethink the best approach. And now every time she leads a rollout, she draws on that experience. Did it add a couple of weeks to the project? Yes. Was it worth it? Absolutely. Because the long term paid off. Her growth, her confidence, her ability to lead change far outweighs the short term delay. Sometimes the most important thing we can do as leaders is let people try, let them fail, and let them learn. So how do we create a culture of curiosity? Here are a few practical habits leaders can use. 1, ask better questions. Good questions unlock good thinking. When you ask questions, instead of providing answers, you shift the cognitive load to your team and empower them to generate solutions. Curiosity from the leader signals that thinking is valued, not just task completion. 2, invite ideas early, not after decisions are made. People contribute more when they believe their voice can shape the direction, not just react to it. Bringing your team in early creates ownership and often uncovers insights you wouldn't have seen from your vantage point. 3, celebrate the attempt, not just the outcome. When you acknowledge effort and experimentation, you remove the fear of being wrong. This encourages people to take thoughtful risks and accelerates learning across the team. 4, model curiosity yourself. Say, I don't know yet. Let's explore it. When leaders admit they don't have all the answers, it gives everyone else permission to think more freely. Your humility becomes the team's psychological safety net. 5, respond with possibility. Use phrases like, that's a great idea. Let's try it. Or tell me more about your thinking. Or what if we piloted that? Your reaction to ideas determines whether more ideas show up. Responding with openness rather than criticism keeps creativity alive and strengthens trust in the process. Wiseman offers one of the simplest multiplier practices. Ask people, what do you think? 4 words that change the entire dynamic in a room. So here's some reflection. When was the last time you said to someone on your team, that's a great idea, let's try it? Or, what do you think? If it's been a while, then this is your cue to re-engage curiosity and ignite innovation. Intellectual stimulation is not about being the expert. It's about being the leader who activates expertise. It's not about your intelligence. It's about the intelligence you multiply around you. When leaders encourage curiosity, invite new thinking, and normalize experimentation, they don't just build better processes. They build better people. So here's my challenge for you. This week, take one intentional step. Ask a new question. Invite a new idea. Make space for someone else's voice. Say yes to something unpolished. Because when leaders create space for curiosity, growth, and I mean real growth, becomes inevitable. Keep leading with courage, keep learning with curiosity, and keep refining toward excellence. This is Leadership and Learning with Dr. JBT signing off.